Good afternoon, everybody. We are reconvening for our afternoon session. We'll have two presentations this afternoon. We're going to begin with Mukesh Thapa, who is from Nepal, who worked under the mentorship of Rebecca Goldsmith, who works in the Ministry of Health. We invite you to begin, Mukesh.
Thank you, Eliza. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mukesh Singh Thapa, and I'm from Nepal. So today I'm going to talk about the nutritional status of under 5 children in Nepal. And this is a review study, and it was supervised by Mrs. Rebecca Goldsmith, Senior Research Coordinator from Department of Health, Israel. And I want to thank her for her wonderful support and guidance throughout my work. And I would also like to thank my sponsor, PEARS Foundation, for financing my studies here at Robert H. Smith Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Environment, Hebrew University of Jerusalem. So before going through detail in the topic, I want to give you the short overview of administrative and geographical division of Nepal. In terms of administrative divisions, Nepal is divided into 5 development regions, 14 zones, and 75 districts. And we have 5 development regions, namely Far Western Development Region, we have Mid-Western Development Region, we have Western Development Region, and we have Central Development Region, and we have Eastern Development Region. In terms of geography, Nepal is divided into 3 regions, namely the Tarai region. This is the plain area of Nepal. Then we have hilly region in between, and we have uppermost part called the mountain region or Himalayan region. So I want to also give you the short organogram of health system in Nepal. All the health organizations or health bodies or the hospitals, laboratories and research center, all of them work under the Ministry of Health and Population. At central level, we have Department of Health Services, under which there are several divisions, centers, and central hospitals. At regional level, we have Regional Health Service Directorate, under which again there are several hospitals, training centers, laboratory, medical stores, and TV center. So at zonal level, we have 14 zones, and we have 14 hospitals at each zone. And at a district level, we have district hospital, public health office, and likewise at electoral constituency level, we have primary healthcare centers, and at a VDC level, we have health post. VDC is like a village development committee. This is the unit of geographical administrative division. So at VDC level, we have health post, sub-health post, and finally at community level, we have female community health volunteers, traditional birth attendants, primary healthcare outreach, and expanded program on immunization. Introduction. Basically, nutritional status is prime indicator of health of an individual or community as a whole. So according to the World Food Program 2014, under 5 malnutrition rates in Nepal are the highest in the world, among the highest in the world. So if you look at the National Demographic Health Survey, this is the most recent demographic health survey in 2011 that was conducted in 2011 jointly by Ministry of Health and Population and other donors, USAID, from USAID. According to NDSS 2011, 41% of Nepalese children are stunted, 11% are wasted, and 29% are underweight. Statement of problem. About 6 million children, under 5 children, that is 23% of Nepalese under 5 children are undernourished. And half of all children under the age of 5 suffer from malnutrition and stunting. And there is like high severity of major micronutrient deficiency. This is iodine deficiency anemia, iodine deficiency disorder, and vitamin A deficiency. So there are basic, limited basic health service coverages, especially in the rural part of Nepal compared to the urban part. So objective of the study. The general objective of this study was to assess the nutritional status of under 5 children in Nepal. And specific objectives were to study the various factors and indicators that affect the nutritional status of under 5 children in Nepal, and also to provide the baseline information to develop the new nutritional interventions on under 5 children in Nepal. So methodology. Here I have summarized the search strategy. And I have identified several research studies from using PubMed, Google Scholar, and general Google search. And I screened them and I selected them for eligibility. And finally, I have included 63 research studies from these sources. And those were cross-sectional studies, case control studies, cohort studies, and review studies, and some of the randomized controlled trials that were published in between 1983 and June 2014. So I have also taken several statistics data sets from different sources. Those are like Nepal Demographic Health Survey 2001, 2006, and 2011, and data sets from WHO Global Data Repository, UNICEF Statistics, data set from Ministry of Health and Population, and data sets from Ministry of Agriculture Development, and data sets from Central Bureau of Statistics, Government of Nepal, and several NGOs and INGOs working in Nepal on the sector of under 5 nutrition. So in results section, I have reviewed the several factors that affect the nutritional status of under 5 children in Nepal, especially in case of Nepal. And I have also given the indicator that determine the nutritional status of under 5 children in Nepal. All those in rectangular boxes are indicators. We have micronutrient deficiency, iron deficiency, anemia, iodine deficiency disorder, and vitamin A deficiency. And likewise, we have malnutrition, under which stunting, masting, and underweight are discussed in this review. And we have under 5 mortality and morbidity. And the factor, those has been reviewed in this review study are maternal education, internal conflict and political instability, food security, water and sanitation, healthcare services, food habits, household composition, poverty, and exclusive breastfeeding. So the first one is under 5 mortality and morbidity. According to the UNICEF 2011, malnutrition plays a role in 60% of under 5 deaths in Nepal. And if you look at the causes of under 5 deaths in 2012 in Nepal, most of them are directly or indirectly related to the undernutrition. So if you look at the 8% of nutritional condition deaths are from the nutritional conditions, 10% from sepsis, and 14% from acute lower respiratory infection, 7% from diarrheal diseases, and most of them are related to nutrition, directly or indirectly. So in the second graph, if you look at the trend of under 5 mortality in Nepal between 1960 and 2012, it was quite high in the year 1960. That is 329 deaths per 1,000 live births. And that has been drastically reduced to the 42 deaths per 1,000 deaths in year 2012. And this is really a great achievement for Nepal. And Nepal is in line of achieving Millennium Development Goal 4 in under 5 mortality. So malnutrition. Nepal is among 10 countries in the world with highest stunting prevalence, and one of the top 20 countries in highest number of stunted children. These are the most recent figures from UNICEF. And if you look at the trend of under 5 malnutrition in Nepal, except overweight in the yellow line, all of them are decreasing. And if you look at the current prevalence of overweight in Nepal, it is 1.5%. For now, this is not really a big challenge for Nepal, but in future it could be one of the nutritional problem in Nepal. And if you look at the red line, this denotes the stunting of under 5 children in Nepal. In 2011, the prevalence of stunting is 41%, and the target set by United Nations is 30%, and I don't think Nepal is going to reach this target by 2015. And in case of underweight, the green line, current prevalence of underweight in Nepal is 29%, and target set by United Nations by 2015 is 29%, and Nepal is most likely to achieve this target by 2015. And if you look at the wasting, the current prevalence is 11%, and the target set by United Nations is 5%. So if you look at the past achievement of the Nepal, I don't think Nepal is going to achieve this target by 2015 in terms of the wasting. So in malnutrition, we have several inequalities and disparities in Nepal. Like we have higher prevalence of malnutrition in rural areas compared to the urban. And likewise, we have higher malnutrition in poorest well quintile compared to the richest well quintile. And likewise, in Midwestern and Far Western region, there is like higher prevalence of malnutrition compared to the other 3 development regions of Nepal. And Again, in terms of ecological divisions, malnutrition is higher in mountain region, followed by hill and least in Tarai region. This is the WHO map of the severity of common micronutrient deficiencies in the world, and those areas in red has the high severity of most common micronutrient deficiency, and Nepal also fall under those high severity category. So, this is the map given by the WHO. Iron deficiency anemia. 46% of under 5 children in Nepal are anemic. So this is very high percentage. If you look at the trend of prevalence of nutritional anemia in Nepal between 1998 2011, it was quite high in 1998. That is 78%. This is very high. But this has been reduced to the 46% in 2011, but it is still quite high. So iodine deficiency disorder and vitamin A deficiency. If we look at the iodine deficiency disorder, universal salt iodization program was started back in 2008 in Nepal, and currently 80% of households in Nepal are using iodized salt, but still 144,000 newborns are at risk of iodine deficiency disorder. They are not having any iodine deficiency disorder, but they are at risk of iodine deficiency disorder, according to the NDHS Nepal Demographic Health Survey 2011. So these figures, these number could be the rest of the 20% households which are not using the iodized salt. Vitamin A deficiency. Vitamin A supplementation program was begun in Nepal in 1993, but at that time the coverage was very limited to the few districts only. And after a decade, it reached all of the 75 districts. And if you look at the data from 1998, 32.3% of under 5 children were found vitamin A deficiency. This is old data, but from 2006 till 2012, we have like very good coverage of vitamin A supplementation. It was 90% in 2006, and in 2012 it is 95%. So this is really a good coverage of vitamin A supplementation in Nepal. And I don't think the figure 32% 3 is still the same. It has been reduced to the minimal, but we don't have any official figures about the vitamin A prevalence. Food security. There is positive association between household food insecurity and undernutrition. And according to the FAO 2014, Nepal is considered as one of the low-income food deficit countries. And if we look at the IPC chronic food insecurity analysis, Far Western Mountain and Midwestern Mountain has the highest level of the food insecurity, followed by again Far Western Hills and Midwestern Hills and Central Hills and Mountain. So in case of Nepal, Far Western Development Region and Midwestern Development Region has the highest food insecurity level till the date. Poverty. The interrelationship between poverty and nutrition are well known. Poverty is both cause and result of poor nutritional status. Cause in the sense that if the family income is very poor, the nutrition of the children and family member will be affected. They will have the poor nutritional status. And when they will grow, the children will grow with poor nutritional status. They will have the health complication in their later life. And because of that, they will not be they will not get the better jobs. They will be physically and mentally ill. And because of that, again, it will contribute to the poverty. So the vicious cycle of poverty will continue until and unless we will have any intervention somewhere in between that cycle. So if you look at the trend of poverty in Nepal, it was very high in 1995-96. According to the National Living Standard Survey, it was 41.76%. And this has been reduced to the 25.2% in 2010 and 11. And the target set by the United Nations by 2015 is 21%. And I think Nepal is going to achieve that target, Millennium Development Goal 1, that is eradicating extreme poverty and hunger. Maternal education. Maternal education is often found to be positively associated with child health and nutrition in developing countries, especially in developing countries this result has been found. And child born to the educated mothers suffer from less malnutrition. So if you look at the adult female literacy rate in Nepal, this is very low compared to the adult male literacy rate. It is only the 46.71%. This is very low. And if you look at the Nepal progress towards the Millennium Development Goal 2014, Nepal is potentially likely to achieve MDG 2, that is achieve universal primary education. And Nepal is unlikely to achieve MDG 3, that is gender equality and empowerment. Exclusive breastfeeding. Immediate and exclusive breastfeeding is considered the best source of nutrition for the newborns. And in Nepal, breastfeeding is universal, but however, continuation of the exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months is not common in Nepal. This is because of lack of knowledge on breastfeeding practices and infant feeding practices among the lactating mothers. So the median duration of exclusive breastfeeding in Nepal rests at 4.2 months, so which is below 6 months. And the current prevalence of exclusive breastfeeding in Nepal is 69.6%, which is not a good figure. It was higher in 2000 before a couple of years, but it reduced to the 69.6%, but hopefully it will increase in coming years. Healthcare services. Healthcare services have an empirical role in combating undernutrition. The lack of proper healthcare services directly contributes to the poor nutritional status of the child. These are the findings of some of the studies that I have mentioned here. And in Nepal, there are clear disparities in terms of maternal and child healthcare services. Especially in rural region, we have very poor healthcare services compared to those in the urban areas. So this is one of the main disparity that has been seen as a great challenge in healthcare services in Nepal. Internal conflict and political instability. This is not true for all other countries, but in case of Nepal, we had like internal conflict and political instability back in between 1996 and 2006. In different parts of the world, many practical challenges during the complex emergencies have been seen to contribute to the effectiveness of nutritional interventions. This was true in case of Nepal as well. During the period of communist CPN Maoist insurgency between 1996 and 2006, comparatively less improvement in child health indicators was seen in Nepal. Water and sanitation. Several studies conducted under different geographical settings show the positive impact of improved water quality, sanitation, and hygiene practices on nutritional status of children. These are the findings of the studies I have mentioned here, according to the Dengor et al. 2013 and Slam et al. 2013. And if you look at the drinking water facility in Nepal, 89% of the households have access to the improved drinking water, and 11% households still rely on non-improved sources of water. Toilet facility. 38% of Nepalese households have the access to the improved toilet facility, and 19% have access to the semi-improved toilet facility, and 43% are still using non-improved toilet facility. And out of those 43%, 36% still use open field or bush for the defecation. This is not a good figure, but but this figure has been come to minimum level in current few years between 2013 and 14, but still we don't have any official figure for the later years. Household composition. Several studies suggest that the risk of malnutrition is significantly higher among the children living in joint families, and households with large family size are more likely to have malnourished children. This is because if you have the large family members, if you have I have seen around 20 to 22 family members in a single family in Nepal in case of rural areas. So you have to divide the food available, and all the pregnant or lactating mother, they always busy in cooking food for all other members. That's why it directly contributes to the poor nutritional status of children. And some of the studies have also shown that the better nutritional status of children in male-aided household than their counterparts in female-aided households. However, in low-income female-aided households, the case was found opposite. So this is a contradiction. But I believe that in case of Nepal, the children from male-aided household have the better nutritional status. This is because, why? Because in male-aided household, women have enough time to take care of their offspring or children. So because of that, the nutritional status is better in male-aided households in Nepal. So if you look at the household size in Nepal, average household size is 4.4. This is the national average, but in rural areas, this is higher than in urban areas. And 72% of households are male-aided, and 23% are female-aided. Food habits. Poor food habits lead to the poor nutritional status of children, and sometimes may lead to the health complications in their later life. So this is the finding of Saldiva et al. 2014 and Abdallah et al. 2009. And in Nepal, 60% of rural households have very poor and 11% have poor food consumption pattern. They only consume maize on their daily basis and sometimes complemented by rice, barley, tubers, and depending on season. So they have to wait for the season to have a better quality food. So this is also a quite interesting figure. Discussion. Improving but insufficient progress toward under 5 nutrition have been seen in Nepal. And there are high level of geographical and socio-economic inequalities in terms of progress toward under 5 nutrition. And it is still continue to be a challenge for the Nepal. Yes, a high level of social and geographical inequalities are still continues to be a challenge for Nepal. And I believe that further research is urgently required to determine the effectiveness of existing nutritional programs and identification of the most effective program model to improve the nutritional status of under 5 children in Nepal. Discussion. Here I have enlisted some of the priority factors that need to be given high priority in order to address the problem of under 5 nutrition in Nepal. So if I will be given a fund or some grant, I will invest my grant in these areas. And the first one is maternal education, and we have inadequate progress in Nepal. Second one is the poverty, we have moderate progress. Third one is a food insecurity, we have inadequate progress. And fourth one is a maternal and child health care services, we have again moderate progress in this sector. Limitations. I have some limitations while I was doing this review study, and the first one is the restricted literature search. I have searched the only document available in internet, and there is a variation in study in terms of place where studies were conducted, in terms of time when the studies were conducted, and in few cases, qualities and sources from where research studies were taken. I have taken some of the studies from local journals. I think it matters. Inclusion of cohort studies in the review was restricted by unavailability of cohort studies done in Nepal. So we don't have any cohort studies done in under 5 nutrition in Nepal. That's why I have included only 2 cohort studies in this review, and that were taken from the other part of the world. Recommendation and conclusion. The government of Nepal should give first priority to the issues of maternal education, especially the health education, poverty, food insecurity, and quality of maternal and child health care services in rural areas of Nepal in order to better address the problem of undernutrition in Nepal. And issues of underweight, stunting, wasting, and major micronutrient deficiency should be addressed through different separate nutritional interventions. And progress in one sector is not enough to address the problem of malnutrition in Nepal, and Nepal needs to have a multidisciplinary strategy that encompasses agriculture, health, rural development, and education to properly address the challenges of under 5 nutrition in Nepal. So thank you for your time and attention.
Mukesh, thank you very much for a very interesting talk about Nepal. And we'll open the webinar for questions. Does anybody have something they'd like to ask?
First, it was a very nice presentation. Thank you, Mukesh. You were talking about the figures of malnutrition, how it was divided from the rural areas and urban areas. Can you just tell us a little bit why do you think this is happening? Because they don't have accessibility to food, or what is your personal opinion about it?
Okay, like 80% of Nepalese population, they belongs to the rural part of Nepal. The problem is that we don't have enough transportation facility. We don't have better education, access to the better education in rural areas compared to the urban one. And they are really pressurized by the grinding poverty, especially in rural areas. And agriculture production is also less because most of the rural areas belongs to the hilly and mountain region of the Nepal. That's why we have less agriculture production compared to the Tarai area. And Tarai area is considered as a breadbasket of Nepal, so there is comparatively less malnutrition in Tarai region and compared to the hill and mountain region.
Thanks, Dugu Mukesh. Dugu is the brother, okay? You highlighted about 12 areas or factors contributing to nutritional status of children in Nepal. What, in your opinion, could be the topmost three causing or creating these nutritional status issues in Nepal?
Yeah, I have prioritized that in my discussion section, but I think first one is the maternal education that contribute to the, so if you will have the good maternal education and women empowerment, this will going to solve the problem of undernutrition in Nepal, not only in Nepal, but other part of developing world. And second one should be the poverty. If you address the issues of poverty, they will have enough access to the economic access to the, and they will have high purchasing power to have better quality food. And third one should be the food security. So we should address the problem of food insecurity in Nepal. So if we will be able to solve those three problems, and we will have a better nutritional status of under 5 children in Nepal.
But at some point you said you have the issues to do with the accessibility. Accessing some areas are a problem.
Yeah.
What is it? What's your take on that?
Like access is in terms of transportation, in terms of education, because in rural areas we don't have enough transportation because of the difficult geographical terrains and lack of the development infrastructures. So mainly we don't. Yeah, sure.
Stemming off of maternal education, since accessibility is also an issue, how do you think maternal education can overcome, or can it overcome, the fact that some of the food you might be educating them on isn't available?
So if you educate the mothers lactating, first of all, they will take care of how, they will have knowledge of how to breastfeed exclusive of 6 months, and how to better take care of their offsprings. So beside that, if you are educated, you will get good job in either they will migrate to the urban areas to have to get the better education, and because of that, it will solve the problem of malnutrition.
Thank you, Mukesh, for your nice presentation. You mentioned different micronutrient deficiencies in Nepal. So what do you think, which micronutrient deficiency is the most important one currently in Nepal?
So basically, we have a major 3 micronutrient deficiency among under 5 children in Nepal, and one is the iron deficiency anemia, and second one is the iodine deficiency disorder, and third one is the vitamin A deficiency. And if you look at the prevalence of iron deficiency anemia, it is 46%. This is quite high. And we don't have official figures of vitamin A deficiency, but it's still the coverage of vitamin A supplementation is very high, that is 95%. So iron deficiency anemia is the first one that is the higher prevalence of in Nepal. So.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. My question is, what do you think is the major cause of hunger in Nepal? Is it as a result of inadequate food production or inadequate food distribution?
There is inadequate food production because the population is increasing at the higher pace than the food production, and also the distribution system is very poor. You have enough food in the Tarai region, but less in hilly region, and in mountain region, people don't grow any crops because of the climate of that area. But this is the poor distribution plus inadequate production. So we are importing the food from India. So both of them are acting for the hunger in Nepal.
We have time for 1 or 2 more questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Very nice. You were talking about maize and tubers as being major source of dietary source. Could you think of what can change in food production, what can change the nutritional habits for the better for Nepal? You know, what type of food would be a better source?
So if you compare like the 3 regions, especially the Tarai region is considered as breadbasket of Nepal, and we have like surplus production in that region. But if you consider the climatic condition of the mountain region, there the people only grow the like potato and some other tuber crops, because climate of their region doesn't favor the growing rice or paddy or other maize. So I think Nepal should focus on like growing the crop that suits the climate of their region and that are also the dense in nutrition. So that will solve that. We have to focus on consider the climatic condition of Nepal, and if we can grow the crops that suits the climatic conditions, and plus if we will have the better food distribution system in Nepal, that can solve the problem of food distribution.
Mukesh, thank you very much. Well done. Okay, our last presentation for the day today. Danny Zhou from China has been working with Amnon Lichter. In a minute, she'll get her microphone up and be ready to begin. And this is, you've noticed over the course of the day, we have some as hardcore nutrition, some as a little bit more food technology. This is more in the direction of agriculture, but it's all definitely under the umbrella of improving nutrition, so it all fits in very well in our program.
So I hope now I'm higher enough to let everybody can see me. So I'm Danny Zhou. I'm from China. My topic is the effect of gibberelling treatment and the sugar content on the nutritional and flavor quality of superior table grapes. My mentor is Dr. Amnon Lichter. So what is gibberelling? Gibberelling is a plant hormone that regulates growth and influences various developmental processes. The internal gibberelling of grapes supplied by the seeds. And the most modern cultivars are seedless, and they rely on application of external gibberelling instead of the internal gibberelling to obtain the desired size. It's because these modern cultivars, they don't have seeds, so they don't have enough gibberelling. We need to give them gibberelling by ourselves. And gibberelling also delays the ripening, partly because more sugar is needed to reach similar ripeness as untreated grapes, and because of some other general effects on wine or berry growth and performance. Antioxidant is very important nutrition. Grapes are an important source of highly effective antioxidants, and as we know, antioxidants can prevention of the damage from the free radical, which cause oxidative damage to lipids, protein, and the nucleic acids. The grape flavor we want to measure that time consists both the perception in the mouth, like sweetness, acidity, or bitterness, and on the odor, produced by several volatile compounds. So volatile flavor compounds is very important because everyone wants to eat the grapes or other food smell very good. And if the smell disgusting, no one wants to eat. So it's like to play a key role in determining the perception and acceptability of products by consumers. But many factors affect the volatile composition, including the cultivar, fruit maturity, and storage condition. Substantial qualitative and quantitative different in volatile compounds in many different foods depends on their stage of maturity. Especially in grape, we think the stage of maturity mostly depends on the sugar content. Sugar is higher, it means maturity. Sugar is lower, maybe it's not good, or it's not ready to harvest, it's not ready to eat. And the volatile of the table grapes have been less studied than those of white grapes. And so this object of this study was to determine if gibberelling treatment had any effect on volatile compounds and the total antioxidant capacity in different SAC, soluble solid concentration. Maybe we can think SAC is mentioned the sugar content, but not mostly, but we can understand like that. A group of superior table grapes. In this study, we used the superior grapes. Superior is a common mid-season seedless table grape cultivar. The picture is the superior. And we get two groups. One is the gibberelling treatment group, and the other one is the control. Then when we harvest, we cut the grapes like this. And the control GA treated sample was separated by sucrose solution, divided to three groups. One is SSC below 14%. The second is between 40% and 16%. The third group is above 16%. So how it works? I put the grapes into the 14% sucrose solution, and some of them flow, some of them thick. The flow one is below 14% group. The thick one is above 14% group because of the density. And we'll collect the 14% group, below 14% group, and then take out the above 14% group outside and put in the 16% group solution. Then, because of the density, they divide to two different groups. The flow one is between 14 to 16, and the thick one is 16% group. So then we get three groups because of the sucrose solution density. At the beginning, we tested some basic parameters like the fermenters, size, SSC, and the TA. TA is the titratable acids. Like the right corner, you can see the TA is the major acid in the grape, which can let us to feel the grapes is sourness. And we use this machine to measure the ferment size and the SSC. From the total antioxidants, from other research, we found that between different antioxidants, the synergistic effect is between the different antioxidants. And it's difficult to measure a lot of antioxidant compounds separately. So in this experiment, we use the total equivalent antioxidant capacity to measure the total antioxidant directly. We didn't divide it to different compounds. And we measure the volatile measurements by using the GCMS machine and use the solid phase micro extraction. The last we did is the organoleptic test, but only 5 trained testers because I don't have a lot of grape for that, so only do this testing in a small group to know the general idea of these superior grapes. And the taster did this table to fill this table. We divide to 4 parts. The first part is basic tasting, taste descriptor, includes sweetness, sourness, and impression. Secondary descriptor, croachiness, pyramid, cedarimate, astringency. And aromatic potential descriptor, the aroma, intensity. They can choose green nature, fruity, muscat, which are 4 very common flavor in grapes, and overall impression of flavor. So we can see the result. This is the result what I get from all the measurements. The first is the SSC and the TA. We compare the control and the GA. Gibberelline treatments. From the p-value, we can see they are not significant different, which means the gibberelline not increase SSC or TA compared with the control. They are not different. And when we divide them to 3 different SSC contents, we found the SSC content we measure is matched to the group we divide. Like below 14, when the result we measure is below 14. Between is between. But the TA content from the p-value, we found no difference between the gibberelline and the control in 3 of the group. And when we use the turkey, we can see AA. So which means all of the group, their TA is similar. There are no difference. And when the size and firmness, we found this is size, this is firmness. We found the gibberelline significant increase the size and the firmness. When we divide to 3 different groups, the diameter we measure this time is to mention about the size of the grape. And you can see only when the SSC content below 16, the gibberelline it significantly increase the diameter, increase the size. But when it's above 16, it's not. Maybe because we think because the grape is very small, so they have enough time to accumulate more sugar. So when the acidity very high and the size is not very big. And the firmness divided to 3 different groups, we can see the p-value we compare control and GA, all of them are significant. Because we think, because the gibberelline can change the cell wall structure, so make the grapes is more firmness. And we found another thing about the firmness too. The first thing is when we see the control group, the black one, when the SAC content higher increase, the firmness increase like this. It's significant, but in GA it's not increase. We think because gibberelline changed the structure, the wall structure, so it's not sensitive to the SAC content. Then we measure the total antioxidant. From the results, we only found the SAC content when it's above 16. The gibberelline treatment is higher than the control. It's significant. But for other group, no significant difference. So why only this group is higher than other groups? We found other research, but they said the total antioxidant capacity was negatively correlated to the SAC content in red grapes, which means the SAC is higher, the antioxidant they found is lower. But in my experiment, maybe because the SAC is higher, the GA treatment is higher, so it's different with this result. So from this study, I don't know why only this group is higher. We need to do more research to find the reason. But we compare with other foods. For my grapes, the antioxidant is between 12 to 14. So compared with this apple, strawberry, the grape have lower antioxidants, but higher than orange and papaya. Volatile compounds in this study, the first thing is C6. Aldehydes was dominant in various grape cultivars like hexanol and E2-hexanol. The other important volatile flavor groups found in grape are monoterpene. So in my experiment, I choose 4 of the volatile compounds. These 2 is this group, and 3 Corinne is from the monoterpene. Hexanol and E2-hexanol give you green and grass odor, like the odor of cut leaves of green plants. And the 3 Corinne is give you sweet, pungent odor. And this one, 3-methyl-5-heptane 2,1, is another very important volatile compound in grape. They give you fruity odor. When we compare the control and the gibberelline treatment, we found only the 3 Corinnes is higher in the gibberelline than the control. But for other compounds, we didn't find any significant difference. It's already same. When we divide two different SAC contents, what we found is only hexanol. When SAC above 16, the control is higher than the gibberelline. It's significant. But for others, it's not significant. Maybe because from other research, they found that after harvest, the hexanol is increased. So why gibberelline is lower? Because gibberelline always can delay the ripeness. And we harvest all the grapes at the same time. So maybe this group of grapes, they don't have enough time to increase these compounds. But the aromatic volatile grapes is a large group of more than 100 volatile compounds, and further analysis is required in order to test the influence of SAC and gibberelline on their contents. There are lots of volatile compounds. For me, I only measure 4 of them. So in the future, I will measure other so many volatile compounds. Maybe I can find the difference. from the last testing is organoleptic testing. I lose the group is control below 16 because I don't have a large grape in that group. But from this 4 group, what we found is you can see the SAC content is higher, the sweetness is higher, like above 16, 7, between is 5, above is 5, is much to the SAC content. But the sourness is low if the sweetness is high. Like sweetness 5, sourness 6, sweetness 7, sourness 5. So I do the correlation between the sweetness score and the sourness score. We found they have negative correlation. When the sweetness is high, the sourness is low. But we found the TA content before is similar, no change between all of the group. One, we found maybe because acidity become important in determining the grape test when acidity is below a threshold level. When the acidity below to the center level, we will care about the acidity. But if sweet is very high, we don't really care about the acidity. And the taster feel low sourness if grape has high acidity content. We found another correlation is coarseness and firmness. They have positive correlation. Secondary descriptor like pear remain, seed remains, astringency, and off flavor reveal no correlation with the overall impression and acidity content. The overall impression could be well predicted to use sweetness. Coarseness did not improve the correlation of acidity alone because people more care about the sweet, not other things. But from the results of aroma descriptor in this testing, we didn't find some difference maybe because the population of taste were too small, only 5 people, so it's very, very small. The relationship between organoleptic tests and volatile compounds will have to be conformed in a large population. So in the future, maybe we will more testers do this testing. So the conclusion of my experiments, the first is gibberelline treatment significantly increased the berry size as effect and increased the 3 occurring content. The smallest berry group of the gibberelline treatment had the highest acidity content, probably because the smaller grapes can accumulate acidity more quickly than the big ones. And the GA treatment increased the grape firmness that might cause by the change the cell wall structure. And the firmness of GA treatment did not increase when SAC content increased because the cell wall structure is changed, so they are not sensitive to the SAC content. But in control, the firmness increased with the SAC accumulate. SAC content of grape was found to have a good correlation with overall impression and poor relationship between the TA and sourness in the limited organoleptic test. The group of SAC above 16% was the only group that have significant higher total antioxidant capacity. The reason of why only one group have higher total antioxidant capacity is unknown. We need to do more experiments and to find the reason. In this study, the grapes was harvested at the same time, and that might cause the gibberelline treated grape to accumulate few compounds, such as hexanol content compared to the control. Maybe they need more time to accumulate these compounds. So therefore, GA treatment caused a minimal difference in antioxidant volatile compounds between different acidity contents groups. These results may be different for more aromatic cultivars. Maybe we do more cultivars and to measure other aromatic compounds, we can find more difference. But from now, I didn't find a big difference. So this is the reference I use for this PowerPoint. And I want to thank my mentor, Dr. Lichter, and my lab member, and Eliza, Nurit, and Ronnie. because they helped me a lot in this year. So I want to say thank you for them. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going to open up the last presentation for questions. I know most of us know a little bit less about agriculture, but I think there were some interesting things here. Do you have any questions from the audience?
Thank you, Danny. That was very interesting, a topic I knew nothing about. I mean, I know what grapes are, but that was about it. What do you see as being a possible application of what you've done when you go back to China?
Because in China, we produce a lot of grapes. Why produce a lot of grapes? Because China produces so many things. Yeah. So grapes is one of them. We produce a lot. But to be true, China is not good with agriculture, not good with the nutritional. And more Chinese, they want the grapes or fruits have more nutrition nowadays. So because maybe I do this experiment, I can find a way to increase the nutrition of the grapes. So like maybe make the Chinese health more health than now.
Danning, I'm interested in, you talked about the antioxidant content, and that's one of the things after Lem's presentation that we think is very important in helping preventing diseases. You said you don't know why this one particular treatment had more antioxidants, but just in general, what grapes didn't stand up very well, apples had more antioxidants, right? You have the different.
Yeah.
So how can we just in general get grapes to be richer in antioxidants so that we can rank it higher in the scale of, is there things we can do agriculturally to increase all of them to have more antioxidants?
Maybe because of that, we found the gibberellin treatment and the high sugar, they have antioxidants. So it's good. We can maybe we can use gibberellin to make the grape more sugar, sweeter, and have high antioxidants. Maybe
giving a higher dose. I don't know enough about plant physiology. Maybe Aman, if you have some comments or questions, you want to help us?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and also we published recently a paper that shows that application of cytokinin, another plant growth regulator, increases tannin content and astringency in grapes. Now, if you do it to a good level, that you may not harm the taste, but increase the total antioxidant because of the elevation of flavonols and other compounds which are present in grapes. So we try different ways in order to see how to modulate or manipulate the levels of internal compounds without harming the flavor, because still people will buy first by the eyes, second by the what they feel from the grapes, and we like to have additionally to it good nutritional quality. And the second thing is to eat more, to use more red grapes, which are rich in anthocyanins, and that is our choice. Green or red will always contain more antioxidants. So in the same price, we can buy healthier grapes.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any more questions from our students? Okay.
Can I ask a question then?
We have one or two.
The crimsons, which is like a hybrid.
You have to speak of the microphone.
There's a new grape which have come in recently in Israel, the crimsons, which are seedless, and where do they sort of in terms of the spectrum between green and red in terms of antioxidants? Has that been checked, or?
We're waiting for Denning to. We're waiting for Denning to measure it, but crimson is a very successful in flavor, and we expect it to have more antioxidants. And yeah, this is we are looking into new cultivars always that will have higher nutritional and flavor values.
Okay, I want to thank everyone. Sarah, you want to make a last comment, or we're going to close for the day?
No, we can close for the day.
Okay. I want to thank everyone for coming today and making wonderful presentations. I'm very proud of you all, and thank you once again to our mentors who give of their time and expertise to our students. And we will convene tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Please be on time. And we will continue with the second set of presentations. So everyone have a wonderful afternoon, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you.